For today's demonstration, we're going to be doing a chocolate colour, and I've got some individual lime and ginger cheesecakes, so I'm going to be putting a chocolate colour around the outside of that. You can use this technique around a large cheesecake, individual cheesecakes, individual cakes, large cakes, tiered cakes, sponge cakes. It just gives it another lift to the dimension of the garnish on the cake. So to start with, we need a little bit of preparation ready just to help you. So first of all, I've got my cheesecake here. So this is my individual lime and ginger cheesecake. What we're going to do is we're going to measure the circumference of the cheesecake and then the height of the cheesecake, so we get the collar template the right size. So first of all, you can either use string or a bit of greaseproof paper. I'm just going to use a bit of greaseproof paper, and I'm just going to measure the outside, overlapping slightly around my cheesecake to get the circumference size. Okay, so you can use a piece of string. I've already done that. So, and I've cut a piece out like so, and I've just done it a little bit longer just to make it a bit easier to use. Okay, and then if you measure the depth, sorry, not the depth, the height of your cake, okay, then that get the height of your collar. You can do the collar to the exact size, or you can do the collar just slightly above. It's entirely up to you. If you do it slightly above, don't do it too much, because what you'll find is it'll fall in or it'll be extra fragile. Okay, so I've got the right length and the right height now for what I want to use. So for this, we'll need melted chocolate. Okay, so I've already melted the chocolate ready, and I've done this by using a saucepan, water and a metal bowl, or a pot bowl you can use. Now that can either be called a bain-marie or a double boiler. So what you want in your saucepan is about 2 inches of water. You don't want it touching the base of your pan, you just want it in the bottom of your saucepan. Okay, then put that onto a simmer, a low simmer, just enough to melt the chocolate, and keep stirring the chocolate as it melts, like so. Once that's melted, turn it off. When it's cool enough, you can remove the bowl and then leave the bowl on the side for a good 10 minutes just to allow the chocolate to cool down a little bit, and it will start to set just a little bit so it's a bit thicker. Once it's first melted, it's too hot to pipe with and it's too runny. So therefore, if you want to get a pattern and you want gaps in your pattern, you'll find that it'll just run into each other and then it'll be a solid piece. So it's best to leave it for a good 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how much chocolate that you're melting. We're at that stage now, so we're going to pop that into a piping bag. So I've got some piping bags here, and I've just got these from the pound shop, so they're just disposable ones, which make it a bit easier. Just pop it over a mug. It just helps with the stability when you're putting your chocolate into your piping bag. So pour your chocolate into your piping bag. Like so. Okay, and then you're going to pull up the sides and remove the mug. Okay, just gently push it down. You will find there's a little bit of an air pocket, so just give it a squeeze, try and get rid of it. You will find there'll be a little bit at the end, but you're going to be trimming that anyway once you start piping. So I've got my, if you want to leave that into your, put that into your mug to stop it running out from the other end, it'll stay there. So I've got my template ready to do my chocolate run out. So I'm going to be piping. You can be creative with this. You can do lines, you can do circles, you can do crisscross. It's entirely up to you. You can just experiment with what you want to use. I'm just going to do some squiggles on here today. So ready for that, with your piping bag, if you hold it like so, and then depending on whether you're right or left-handed, it doesn't really matter, hold it like in between your first finger and your thumb, and then wrap this part around your thumb, so you're holding it like this. Okay, then you just want to twist it until it becomes tighter, like so. Okay, and then what you'll find is as you put pressure on the top, that's all that you're going to need. The pressure from this hand you don't really need to use unless you want to guide it. Okay, so just for the pressure from this is what you're going to use. So first of all, I'm just going to take a little bit, depending on the thickness you're going to do your design, just snip the end of your piping bag, and then you could just do a little squeeze, see if that's thick enough or thin enough, however you want it. Now this is where you've got to be pretty quick, because whichever hand you're going to be using, pop it into the hand you're using, wrap it around, and then pop it upside down and tighten it if you want to, or you can just tighten it and allow a little bit to run out onto a bit of greaseproof. Okay, hold it upwards until you're ready to do your design. Okay, and that's the template I'm doing. So I'm just going to do a little, so holding it above, and just let the chocolate, just gentle pressure on the top, and allow the chocolate to run out and flow, and just make your pattern. Always try and connect your chocolate. So as you can see with the pattern, try and connect your chocolate. If you've got large gaps or big gaps, that's where it becomes more fragile and it will start to break. So all I'm doing is a slight pressure on here and allowing the chocolate just to run out, and I'm just guiding it just probably about a centimetre above the greaseproof paper. And you can be creative, it's entirely up to you. You can practice this pattern, crisscross pattern, it's entirely up to you. And then once we've done this, we'll then let it set for a little bit, just so it sets in place and it's not too runny. So pop that back into your mug. So there's your template. Just allow it to set for a few minutes, just so that it's not too runny, because as you start to lift it up, you'll find that then it might just slide off the greaseproof. So if you just allow it to rest for a short while. Okay, so I've allowed that to rest for a couple of minutes, just to set for a little while. You bring your cheesecake in, and then what we're going to go is we're going to wrap that around the cheesecake. So we're going to pick it up, we're going to start from the back, and we're going to wrap it around the cheesecake like so. So gently from the corners, can be a little messy. Okay, so you're going to lift it up, bring it round to the back of your cheesecake, onto the bottom, and as you're wrapping it around, gently, try not to squeeze it too tight, just pull it around slowly, and then if you've got, you can either overlap it or not overlap it, and then you'll find what you can do here is you've got a seal, and then when it's set in the fridge, you can unpeel that, and using a hot knife, dried off, you can just slice that excess off, just to neaten it off a little bit more. So for now, we're going to pop that in the fridge to set for probably 10 minutes. Okay, so whilst that one's setting, I've got one already prepared. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the greaseproof. So this one, I've done it almost exact to the side, but if it's pinched, all you need to do is remove the greaseproof paper, and with a hot knife, small hot knife, wiped clean dry, just go down the excess, and that'll peel away that excess chocolate. So if we're just going to gently remove this greaseproof paper, and there you have your individual chocolate cheesecake with a colour, chocolate colour. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to decorate that just a little bit. So I've got a little plate here with a little bit of raspberry coulis, so it's like raspberry sauce, and it's just reduced raspberries, a little bit of water and sugar, reduced it down, blended, and then put through a sieve to remove the pips, and it's left a little bit of a sauce. So you've got a sweet cheesecake with a bit of a bitter sauce. So we're going to pop this cheesecake onto the plate like so. And then again here, I've created some shards of chocolate. So it's just melted chocolate with a bit of grated white chocolate on top, bit of greaseproof on top, popped into the fridge till it's hard, and then just snapped it up, and we've now got a few shards that we can decorate the cheesecake with. There we go. And there you've got your individual lime and ginger cheesecake with a chocolate cover.